Be ready. 15 seconds. In this regard, I would like to point out the most important thing that unless a communal government which is not disciplined, does not have unanimity of thought, does not share common responsibility, is sure to face such dilemma. This is but natural. With this comment, I would like to say something because poverty is on the increase in the country. You have said that this budget is for the upliftment of the poor. Poverty is increasing and it is a symptom of many ills prevalent in the society. Unemployment is the root cause of poverty. So, the real problem is unemployment. If unemployment is removed, poverty will naturally come to an end. But in our country, the percentage of people living below the poverty line is decreasing, but the number of the poor is not decreasing. As per data, the percentage of people living below poverty line was 54 to 55% during 1973-74 and seemingly it has come down to 32 to 33% now. But the number of the poor has not decreased. At that time, also about 32 to 33 crore people were living below the poverty line, and even today the situation remains the same despite all efforts made in this regard. The only reason behind this in our country is the increasing unemployment. 2 days ago, the government had accepted in this house that they would bring poverty to zero level by 2008. But from which point they have started? You have extended the age of retirement to 60 years. For the time being, the budget deficit, which was going to increase, has been avoided by saving the pension amount. 900 crore rupees is not a big amount. However, limited saving has been done on this account, but to save this, should we extend the retirement age of government employees? The government did not think of its likely impact on employment in our country. The Ministry of Labour of the Government of India has constituted a committee to look into the situation of poverty in the country. The report says that situation of employment in the organized sector is very bad. Even in government sector, the situation is deteriorating. How all these things are happening? Industrial units are facing closure and retrenchment is going on in the government sector. According to the report, in the last decade, that is during 1980-90, employment had been increasing at the rate of 1.60%, but it has now already come down to 0.82% in the first 7 years of this decade. Public sector undertakings of central and state governments, local bodies, and in the government, number of jobs have decreased from 2 crore 80 lakh to 1 crore 90 lakh because of our policies. There is a decline of 80 lakh during 2 years. Now you are extended the retirement age to 60 years. Due to this, there would be no job opportunity in the government sector, which provides maximum job opportunity. While the retired persons get something for their sustenance from the government exchequer, for unemployed persons have to suffer most, as they do not have any job and they remain on the verge of poverty and their problems keeping on increasing. They are going to be worst hit on account of raising the retirement age. The sector in which there was a potential to accommodate the maximum youths in jobs is likely to be hit by this decision. You have not accepted all the recommendations of the Pay Commission. Pay Commission had recommended to curtail the number of holidays and increase the duration of working hours, and many other things were recommended which could have helped to promote work culture in the country, but they have not been accepted. It cannot be understood as to why you choose to accept only such recommendations which are going to affect adversely the future of the coming generation. In this very context, I would like to say that still the industrial and small scale industry sector had the largest to accommodate maximum number of people in organized sectors. As I have said, the government has no discipline to adhere to. In pursuance of Abid Ali Committee's recommendations, capital ceiling of 3 crore rupees for small scale units was fixed. Consequently, a number of small scale units having a capital of 3 crore rupees came up and they got all those facilities which are available to small sector. But in a convention, the Prime Minister reduced the said ceiling to rupees 1 crore. But when the said ceiling was reduced to rupees 1 crore, it was expected from the Finance Minister to have accepted that proposal and should have mentioned in the budget. The Industry Department would have issued an order to this effect and worked accordingly. But the Industry Department did not issue any such order. Finance Minister also did not make any mention of it in his budget. A chaotic situation prevailed in absence of financial discipline, and due to this, the same could not be reflected in the budget of this government. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the discussion. Though both the ministers are good friends of mine, I have only one option to oppose the budget proposals. Let me come to the perspectives of the budget. I am sorry to say that the budget lacks vision and direction. It has merely followed the pattern of imposing additional burden on the people without getting any priority for Indian Railways. I am thankful to the Honorable Minister for bringing out a status paper on the eve of the budget. But he has not followed any of its indications in his maiden budget. We consider the railways as an important vehicle for the development of the country, which of course is the symbol of national unity. There are vast areas which are left out from the map of development. The inequality in the matter of development could be rectified if the railways expanded its network to the backward areas as well. Unfortunately, the budget also does not approach this serious issue.